Nanda Jaya Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gora Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, so Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pacharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatade Shatarane. Okay, where did we live off? So we are reading from the Sri Caitanya Charitamrita, Adi Leela, Chapter 2. Prabhupada, do you remember which verse we left off on? Oh yeah, we held these numbers lists. Oh yeah, I think we left off 26 to 27. Okay, let's start at 25. Bhakti yoge bhaktapaya yanhara darshana surya yena savigraha deke devagana. This is chapter 2, text 25. Through their service, devotees see that personality of Godhead, just as the denizens of heaven see the personality of the sun. Yeah, this is where we left off. So we're talking about Narayan. So the previous verse was Lord Narayan, who dominates the transcendental world, is full in 6 opulences. He is the personality of Godhead, the Lord of the goddesses of fortune. And they read all those Shastric references showing that Narayan is indeed the supreme personality of Godhead. And now he's saying that devotees can see him, Narayan, just as the residents of the heavenly planet can see the sun god. Purport. The Supreme Personality of Godhead has his eternal form, which cannot be seen by material eyes or mental speculation. Only by transcendental devotional service can one understand the transcendental form of the Lord. The comparison is made here to the qualification for viewing the personal features of the sun god. The sun god is a person who, although not visible to our eyes, is seen from the higher planets by the demigods, whose eyes are suitable for seeing through the glaring sunshine that surrounds him. Every planet has its own atmosphere according to the influence of the arrangement of material nature. It is therefore necessary to have a particular type of bodily construction to reach a particular planet. The inhabitants of Earth may be able to reach the moon, but the inhabitants of heaven can reach even the fiery sphere called the sun. What is impossible for man on earth is easy for the demigods in heaven because of their different bodies. Similarly, to see the Supreme Lord, one must have the spiritual eyes of devotional service. The personality of Godhead is unapproachable by those who are habituated to speculation about the absolute truth in terms of experimental scientific thought, without reference to the transcendental vibration. The ascending approach to the absolute truth ends in the realization of impersonal Brahman and the localized Paramatma, but not the supreme transcendental personality. The style of this purport seems very much like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur. I wonder if he was kind of referring to something that his spiritual master wrote. Because this sentence here, the personality of Godhead is unapproachable by those who are habituated to speculation about the absolute truth in terms of experimental scientific thought, with reference to the transcendental without reference to the transcendental vibration. It sounds more like Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's style of writing. Anyways, so yeah, what Prabhupada's saying here is that Krishna is totally spiritual, and to see him, we need to have spiritual vision. So we can't see him by our ordinary eyes. We can't understand him by scientific experiments. or a scientific thought, without reference to the transcendental vibration. In other words, the way to approach the Lord is through transcendental sound vibration, through chanting Hare Krishna, basically, right? By chanting the holy names, Hare Krishna mantra, then we can approach the Lord, then we can spiritualize our consciousness, our senses, our eyes, and we can get spiritual vision, and then we can gradually see the Lord. So yeah, there are devotees that can see the personality of Godhead, just like we can see, a great leader here on this planet, and the demigods can see the sun god who is king of the sun planet. So the residents of Vaikuntha can see the Lord, Lord Narayan. Okay, text 26. Jnana Yoga Marge Tanra Bhajaye Sabha Brahma Atma Rupe Tanra Kare Anubhava. Would you like to read, Mother Vaidehi?
Yeah. Those who walk the paths of knowledge and the yoga worship only him, for it is his they perceive as the impersonal Brahman and localized Paramatma.
Go ahead and read the purport, please.
Those who are fond of mental speculation, jnana, marga, or want to meditate in the mystic yoga to find the absolute truth, must approach the impersonal effulgence of the Lord and his partial representatives respectively. Such persons cannot realize the eternal form of the Lord.
Mm. Yeah, so without reference to the transcendental vibration, without chanting Hare Krishna, if we're just on the path of knowledge, Jnana Yoga, or Jnana Yoga Marge, then the only thing that we're going to be able to realize is Brahma Atma, the impersonal Brahman and the super soul. Apart from that, we're never going to come to realization of Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. What to speak of Lord Caitanya, who is Krishna in the speech of Lord Caitanya, we're not going to understand without chanting Hare Krishna. Okay, text 27. Upasana Bede Jani Ishvara Mahima Ataeva Surya Tanra Dieta Upama. Aruna? Okay, so according to how we approach the Lord, then he reciprocates by revealing himself to a certain extent. Text 28. Se Narayana Krishnera Swarupa Abeda Eka I Vigraha Kintu Akara Vibeda. Pragati. Okay, text 29. Inhota dvibhuja tinho dhare charihata Inho venu dhare tinho chakra digasata. Katika?
This personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna, has 2 hands and holds a flute, whereas the other Narayan has 4 hands with conch, wheel, mace, and lotus. Purport. Narayan is identical to Sri Krishna. They are in fact the same person manifested differently, like a high court judge who is differently situated in his office and at home. As Narayan, the Lord is manifested with 4 hands, but as Krishna, he is manifested with 2 hands.
Yeah, so Krishna is like the high court judge at home when he's just relaxing and being himself. And Narayan is the high court judge at work, who's all serious, and has so many responsibilities, and he has to be very formal, and everyone's very reverential towards him. But then the same judge goes home and his wife and children are just playing with him and joking, and kids are climbing on his lap and like that. Sometimes the wife is chastising him. Okay, so that's Krishna. Sometimes he gets chastised, sometimes he's just joking. Text 30. Narayanastvam nahi saiva dehinam atmasyadika kila loka sakshi Narayanam bhujalayanat Tachchapi satyam natavaiva maya. O Lord of Lords, you are the seer of all creation. You are indeed everyone's dearest life. Are you not, therefore, my father, Narayan? Narayan refers to one whose abode is in the water, born from Nara, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and that Narayan is your plenary portion. All your plenary portions are transcendental. They are absolute and are not creations of Maya. Purport. This statement, which is from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:14-14, was spoken by Lord Brahma in his prayers to Lord Krishna after the Lord had defeated him by displaying his mystic powers. Brahma had tried to test Lord Krishna to see if he were really the Supreme Personality of Godhead playing as a cowherd boy. Brahma stole all the other boys and their calves from the pasturing grounds, but when he returned to the pastures, he saw that all the boys and calves were still there, for Lord Krishna had created them all again. When Brahma saw this mystic power of Lord Krishna's, he admitted defeat and offered prayers to the Lord, addressing him as the proprietor and seer of everything in the creation, as well as the supersoul who is within each and every living entity and is dear to all. That Lord Krishna is Narayan, the father of Brahma, because Lord Krishna's plenary expansion, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, after placing himself on the Garbha ocean, created Brahma from his own body. Mahavishnu in the causal ocean and Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, the supersoul in everyone's heart, are also transcendental expansions of the supreme truth. So this is Brahma saying that, yeah, Krishna, you are Narayan. Text 31. Shishu Vatsahari Brahma Kari Aparadha Kshamaite Magena Prasada. Ready?
After Rama had offended Krishna by stealing his playmates and calves, and he begged the Lord's pardon for his offensive act and prayed for the Lord's mercy.
Yeah, so Krishna's Kaviraj is referring to this pastime. That the proof that Krishna is the source of Narayan is that in this pastime, when Lord Brahma was like, Krishna, like, how is it possible that after I stole your cows and calves, all the cows and calves are still, the boys and calves are still here? Then he just went, wow. And then all the boys manifested Narayan forms and all the calves manifested Narayan forms. And not only that, but they were all with like Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, next to them, fanning, and all servants offering arti and worship and singing Purusha Shukta, and whole entourage was there. And Lord Brahma saw it all, and he was just like, whoa, this Krishna is not who I thought he was. He's actually the source of Narayan. My father, Narayan, expanded from him only. This is the position of Krishna. So then Brahma was like, I am so sorry that I tried to trick you. I wasn't sure, but I was thinking maybe you're just like an ordinary boy. And now I understand that you are the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. Text 32. Now Brahma's going to continue here. Tomara nabi padma haite amara janmodaya tumi pita mata ami tomara tanaya. Aruna.
I took birth from the lotus that grew from my name. Thus, you're both my father and my mother, and I'm your son.
Yeah. So he's recognizing that Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, that the navel, the lotus grew out of his navel, that that Garbhodakshaya Vishnu is just an expansion of Krishna, as we've been hearing, right? Pita mata balakera nalaya aparada kshama more kara prasada. Okay, yeah, so he's thinking, you are none different from my father, and so the father is very compassionate towards the children. So I'm like your son, and I've committed this offense, but please forgive me. Don't punish me too much, because after all, I'm your beloved son, right? Saying that. Okay, text 34. Krishna kahina brahma tomara pita narayana Amigopa tumi kaiche amara nandana. Put together.
Shri Krishna said, I am but a cowherd boy. Can you be my son?
Right?
He's playing.
He's teasing him. Text 35. Brahma Balena Tumi Kinahaya Narayana Tumi Narayana Shuna Tahara Karano. Brahma replied, Are you not Narayan? You are certainly Narayan. Please listen as I state the proofs. Divya, do you want to read the next verse? We're doing Adi Lila, chapter 2, text 36. If you want to find the
Yes,
place.
I would love to. It's kind of loud where I'm just gonna go outside. Sorry, you were saying 36?
36, 236. Yeah,
Can
we'll
you
just
hear
do
any
the.
background music when I talk?
No, can't hear anything.
Okay, I'll read. All the
Okay,
living beings.
we'll just do the Bengali first.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Prakrita shrishya yata jiva rupa tahara ye atma tumi mula swarupa. Go ahead.
All the living beings within the material and spiritual worlds are ultimately born of you, for you are the supersoul of them all. The cosmic manifestation is generated by the interaction of the three modes of material nature. The transcendental world has no such material modes, although it is nevertheless full of spiritual variegatedness. In that spiritual world, there are also innumerable living entities who are eternally liberated souls engaged in transcendental loving service to Lord Krishna. The conditioned souls who remain within the material cosmic creation are subjected to the threefold miseries and pangs of material nature. They exist in different species of life because they are eternally averse to transcendental loving devotion to the Supreme Lord. Sankarshan is the original source of all living entities because they are all expansions of his marginal potency. Some of them are conditioned by material nature, whereas others are under the protection of the spiritual nature. The material nature is a conditional manifestation of spiritual nature. Just as smoke is a conditional stage of fire. Smoke is dependent on fire, but in a blazing fire, there is no space for smoke. Smoke disturbs, but fire serves. The serving spirit of the residents of the transcendental world is displayed in 5 varieties of relationships with the Supreme Lord, who is the central enjoyer. In the material world, everyone is a self-centered enjoyer of mundane happiness and distress. One considers himself the lord of everything and tries to enjoy the illusory energy, but he is not successful because he is not independent. He is but a minute particle of the energy of Lord Sankarshan. All living beings exist under the control of the Supreme Lord, who is therefore called Narayan.
Yeah, so Prabhupada is talking about the different kinds of living beings because, yeah, Brahma is saying all the living beings within the material and spiritual worlds are ultimately born of you. Mula Swarupa. Mula means root. You are the root cause of all of them. So Prabhupada says, yeah, there's living beings in the material world and living beings in the spiritual world. And the living beings in the spiritual world are eternally liberated, always engaged in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. In the material world, we have the conditioned souls who are trying to enjoy themselves separately from Krishna and as a result suffering the threefold miseries of material life, right? But yeah, so what is he saying here about the smoke and the fire? Did anyone catch that analogy?
The smoke comes from the fire
Yeah,
and smoke is on the fire.
on the fire, right?
If the smoke is there, means that some fire is there.
Right. So what is that? What are we learning from the smoke and the fire here in relation to these?
Like our material body, there is a Paramatma inside.
Good guess. Prabhupada is saying the material nature is a conditional manifestation of spiritual nature. So, yeah, that the source of the material world is the spiritual world. Right? The spiritual world is the original substance, and this material world is like a perverted reflection. Just like you have the tree that's reflected in the water, so the original tree is like the fire, and the smoke is the reflection. The reflection comes from the original tree. So the spiritual world is the ultimate reality, and then this material world is just a temporary manifestation, a reflection, perverted reflection of that eternally existing reality. Yeah. And he says that what makes the material world is that material world exists because the attitude is different here. Right? He says that in the spiritual world, there's the serving spirit. Everyone has a service attitude in one of the 5 rasas or relationships, and Krishna is the central enjoyer. Whereas in the material world, everyone is a self-centered enjoyer. They're trying to be a self-centered enjoyer, and they're trying to enjoy Krishna's illusory energy, but they are not successful because they're not independent. So it's kind of like, you know, when the 4 Kumaras went to Vaikuntha and they were trying to enter into Vaikuntha to see Lord Vishnu, then Jai and Vijay stopped them. And they were like, oh, you small boys can't get inside. Who do you think you are? Like that. And so the Kumaras were liberated souls, right? They were free from any kind of material contamination. And so they were very surprised that they got stopped because they shouldn't have been stopped. The Jai and Vijay just, I mean, they were bewildered by the Lord's Yogamaya potency, but they, by the influence of that, they basically judged the 4 Kumaras based on their external bodies and said, you know, no naked little children allowed into Vaikuntha. So then when the 4 Kumaras, who were actually like, you know, advanced Mahabhagavat devotees, they were like, what is this attitude, the attitude that you have, judging people based on their bodies, that is not appropriate attitude for a resident of Vaikuntha. Therefore, you shouldn't be here. And then they said, you need to go to the material world if that's what your attitude is like. So they basically cursed them to go to the material world. And then Lord Vishnu appeared and he was like, what's going on here? It's a lot of commotion out here at the gate today. So anyways, Lord Vishnu apologized on behalf of Jai and Vijay. And then he let them go he said, you can go to the material world, take 3 births as demons or 7 births as devotees. And they said, well, we want to get back here as quickly as possible, so we'll be demons. But it was all ultimately Krishna's plan. But it just goes to show that this attitude of being the self-centered enjoyer has no place in the spiritual world. So that's why the material world is here, is because when we get that self-centered attitude, then we have to be here. And as long as we maintain a self-centered attitude, we need to stay here. So we really need to get free from, you know, material bondage and go back to Godhead. We need to cultivate the service attitude, have Krishna in the center and serve him and serve everyone related to him in whatever our relationship is. But just be like, I'm not the enjoyer, I'm the servant. Krishna is the enjoyer, and I'm here to facilitate his enjoyment, to support his enjoyment, to serve him and his servants in their enjoyment. And that's what happens in the spiritual world. So, yeah. Okay, yeah.
So,
and because they are like marginal potency. So what is like marginal potency, or what are different potency of Krishna?
Yeah, there's 3. There's the internal potency, the external potency, and the marginal potency. So internal potency means which is purely spiritual, which is always just spiritual. It can't be touched by anything material. And then the material energy is material, right? And then marginal means in between. So we're in between because we're, as souls, we're spiritual energy, but we get covered by the material energy. So we're marginal. If we were totally just Antaranga Shakti, just internal potency, we could never be touched by anything. Our consciousness could never be covered. Right? But because we're marginal, then we can go either way. Just like if you go into the middle of the ocean, it's always just ocean. And if you go to the middle of the continent, it's always just land. But if you're on the beach, sometimes it's land, sometimes that strip of, sometimes is land and sometimes it's water. So we're like on the beach. Sometimes we get covered by water, sometimes we're trying to enjoy the beach of Krishna's energies. Yeah. Okay, text 37. Prithvi Aiche Gata Kule Karana Ashraya Jivera Nidana Tumi Sarvashraya. As the earth is the original cause and shelter of all pots made of earth, so you are the ultimate cause and shelter of all living beings. Purport. As the vast earth is the source for the ingredients of all earthen pots, so the Supreme Soul is the source for the complete substance of all individual living entities. The cause of all causes, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is the cause of the living entities. This is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita 7:10, where the Lord says, Bija Mam Sarvabhutanam, I am the seed of all living entities. And in the Upanishads, which say, Nitya Nityanam Chaitanash Chaitananam. The Lord is the supreme leader among all the eternal living beings. The Lord is a reservoir of all cosmic manifestation, animate and inanimate. The advocates of Vishishta Advaita Vad philosophy explain the Vedanta Sutra by saying that although the living entity has two kinds of bodies, subtle, consisting of mind, intelligence, and false ego, and gross, consisting of the 5 basic elements, and although he thus lives in 3 bodily dimensions, gross, subtle, and spiritual, he is nevertheless a spiritual soul. Similarly, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who emanates the material and spiritual worlds, is the Supreme Spirit. As an individual spirit soul is almost identical to his gross and subtle bodies, so the Supreme Lord is almost identical to the material and spiritual worlds. The material world, full of conditioned souls trying to lord it over matter, is a manifestation of the external energy of the Supreme Lord. And the spiritual world, full of perfect servitors of the Lord, is a manifestation of his internal energy. Since all living entities are minute sparks of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the Supreme Soul in both the material and spiritual worlds. The Vaishnavas following Lord Caitanya stress the doctrine of Achintya Bheda Abheda Tattva, which states that the Supreme Lord, being the cause and effect of everything, is inconceivably simultaneously one with his manifestations of energy and different from them. So yeah, Krishna is the source of everything. It's the cause of everything, shelter of everyone. And so in one sense, everything is him because it's made of his energies, right? Those 3 different energies that we talked about. But in another sense, it's not him because he's simultaneously, inconceivably separate from all of his energies.
Just talk about Holy Spirit. What are they referring to?
The Holy Spirit? Yeah, it's kind of like Brahman or Paramatma, the all-pervasive energy of the Lord. Yeah.
They're mostly talking about the Brahman, the effulgence, something. Spirit.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's actually it's closer to Paramatma because the idea is that this Holy Spirit is like a personality. You know, like Holy Spirit is not just an energy, but it's like a person that is all pervasive somehow, is everywhere, all knowing, all seeing, witnesses everything, hears everything, sees everything, right? So that's more like the super soul, because the super soul is also all pervasive. He's like in our hearts, but he's also in every atom.
Yeah.
And in the spaces between the atoms too. So he's also all pervasive, but he's a person. Whereas Brahman is all pervasive energy. Brahman is impersonal. As soon as you get to Paramatma, it's already personal. Right? He even has a form. A Vishnu form. That's very small. Okay, text 38. Nara shabde kahe sarva jivera nichaya, ayana shabde te kahe tahara ashaya.
The word refers to the aggregate of all the living beings, and the word ayana refers to the refuge of them all.
Okay, so he's breaking down the name Narayan, the refuge of all Naras, all the living beings.
There's this temple, like Narayan temple in Kantha, where it's like this. There's like just a stone and the Vishnu is sleeping.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
water. It's
Oh,
so
okay.
cool.
Nice. Like Mahavishnu lying down on the causal ocean. It's cool.
Yeah, you visited there?
Near Kathmandu.
Yeah, it's in. Yeah. And this stone is so heavy, it never submerged. So
It's floating?
yeah, it's floating.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the temple is floating.
It's
so
a stone
water.
deity?
It's outside.
Yeah, it's outside. So,
It's outside.
Oh, he's like in a lake,
Yeah.
like a pond?
It's a
Yeah,
small
it's
pond.
And the
Okay,
deities is there.
that's pretty amazing.
And he's floating there. And
Yeah.
so
He's not
beautiful.
covered at all?
Just like a regular day.
Okay, so
It's covered.
like the rain doesn't fall on him.
The
It's hard for me to
Rain?
see from here.
The rain fall?
Okay, let's go on. Text 39. Ataiva tumi hao mula narayana eka hetu shuna dvitiya karana. Arvina, you have it there?
You are therefore the original. This is one reason. Please listen as I state the second.
Okay. Jivera Ishvara Purushadi Avatara Tanhasa Bahaite Tomar Aishvarya Apara.
The direct being your power and good, it's always done there.
Ataiva Adishvara Tumi Sarva Pita Tomara Shakti Te Tanra Jagat Rakshita.
Therefore, you are the father of everyone. They, the Purushas, are protector of the universes by your power.
Text 42. Narera ayana yate karaha palana ataiva hao tumi mula narayana. Since you protect those who are the shelters of all living beings, you are the original Narayan. Purport. The controlling deities of the living beings in the mundane worlds are the three Purusha avatars, but the potent energy displayed by Sri Krishna is far more extensive than that of the Purushas. Sri Krishna is therefore the original Father and Lord who protects all creative manifestations through his various plenary portions. Since he sustains even the shelters of the collective living beings, there is no doubt that Sri Krishna is the original Narayan. Yeah, so he's talking about how Narayan is his name literally means that he's the refuge or the shelter of all living beings. And now he's saying that you, Krishna, are the shelter of those shelters. You protect those who are the shelters of all living beings. In other words, you protect the Narayans. You are the shelter of Narayan because you are the original Narayan. Text 43. Tritiya Karana Shuna Shri Bhagavan Ananta Brahmanda Bahu Vaikuntadidam.
My Lord, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Kindly hear my third reason. There are countless universes and bottomless and transcendental Vaikunthas.
Okay.
Countless universes and countless bottomless transcendental Vaikunthas.
So even in the material world, there are countless universes. And then what to speak of in the Vaikuntha planets, in the spiritual sky, there are unlimited Vaikuntha planets. Because the countless universes, like we know we're here in one universe, but there are actually as many universes as you can, like mustard seeds and put in a big huge sack like that. And then that's nothing. That's just a very small fraction of the whole material cosmic manifestation is a small fraction of the whole reality. Most of it is the spiritual world. And spiritual world is fathomless. Okay. But he is the source of all that. Ite yata jivatara trikalika karma taha deka sakshi tumi jana sabha marma. Go ahead.
Both in this material and this transcendental world, you see all the deeds of all living beings in the past, present, and future. Since you are the witness of all substances, you know the essence of everything.
Just imagine that. There's countless living beings just in this planet. And then in our universe, there's countless planets. And then there are countless universes, and that's just the material world. Then there's a spiritual world, and there's like many more times, countless more spiritual planets. And in those spiritual planets, there are countless living entities, along with their, presiding deities. And he's saying that both in this material world and in the transcendental world, you see everything. You know what every one of these innumerable living beings are thinking and feeling and willing and doing. Past, present, and future, not just at this moment. Krishna knows everything. Everything about everyone, everywhere. In this world, in the spiritual world. 45. Tomara darshane sarva jagaterastiti tumina dekile karana histiti gati.
You.
Yeah, so what do you think of Krishna seeing everything that's going on? If he wasn't seeing, things wouldn't go on. Right? The fact that he's watching, it's just like the fact that the parents are attentive to the needs of the small baby, that the baby is alive, right? If the parents would neglect the child would die. So the same thing, Krishna is, because he's overseeing these worlds, because he's conscious, he knows what's going on. The worlds are going on.
Oh, you know what? There was a experiment and the scientist, he actually proved that because like the world exists because your world exists because you're seeing it or you're observer, and say the same thing here. Like the world exists because you Krishna oversee them. And then all the scientists crazy and it was a very big thing. It was like in 90s, and now scientists have again started experimenting around this consciously. And it's the same result. It's the same observation after so many.
That I didn't understand that what that the universe exists because someone sees it. My reality depends on what I see, how I see, my interpretation, my perspective. Yeah.
It seems the same thing. Like go like this and you oversee it.
Interesting. Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, Krishna doesn't just look at it, but he also takes care. He like supervises, and like supervise means that he makes sure that everything that's meant to happen is happening nicely. Sun's rising at the right time, setting at the right time. Planets stay in orbit. It's not getting too hot, not getting too cold. Okay.
Small deviation changes.
Yeah, rain is falling. Otherwise, yeah, one slight little adjustment in anything and we all die. Text 46. Narera anyana yate karadara shana tahate hao tumi mula narayana. Is there any critique?
You see the wandering of all living beings. For this reason also you are the primeval Lord Narayan. Purport. Sri Krishna in his Paramatma feature lives in the hearts of all living beings in both the transcendental and mundane creations. As the Paramatma, he witnesses all actions the living beings perform in all phases of time, namely past, present, and future. Sri Krishna knows what the living beings have done for hundreds and thousands of past births, and he sees what they are doing now. Therefore, he knows the results of their present actions that will fructify in the future. As stated in the Bhagavad Gita, the entire cosmic situation is created as soon as he glances over the material energy. Nothing can exist without his superintendence. Since he sees even the abode where the collective living beings rest, he is the original Narayan.
Yeah. So, yeah. Okay, that's basically repeating the same thing, right? Let's go to text 47. Krishna kahena brahma tomara nabuji vachana jiva hridi jale vaishe se narayana. Krishna said, Brahma, I cannot understand what you are saying. Lord Narayan is he who sits in the hearts of all living beings and lies down in the waters of the Karana ocean. Because Brahma's trying to say, you are Narayan. He's like, what are you talking about? I'm not lying down in any Karna ocean. I'm just standing here. I'm just like playing with my friends and herding my calves. And you're obviously, on a bit nuts here. Text 48. Brahma kahe jale jive ye narayana se sabatomara amsha e satya vachana.
Brahma repeat. I have said is true. The same Lord Narayana who lives on the waters and in the hearts of all living beings is but plenary portion of you.
Text 49. Karanabdi Garbo Daka Kshira Daka Shayi Maya Dware Shristi Kare Tata Sabamai.
Created cooperation with the material energy. In this way, they are attached to Maya.
Seitina Jala Shayi Sarva Antaryami Brahmanda Vrindera Atma Ye Pura Shanami.
These purpose of all the universes is known as the first Purusha.
Hiranya Garbera Atma Garbo Daka Shayi Vyashti Jiva Antaryami Kshira Daka Shayi. Garbhodaksha Vishnu is the super soul of the aggregate of living entities, and Kshirodaksha Vishnu is the super soul of each individual living being. 52. Isabara Darshanete Ache Maya Ganda Turiya Krishnara Nahi Mayara Sambandha. Superficially, we see that these Purushas have a relationship with Maya, but above them, in the fourth dimension, is Lord Krishna, who has no contact with the material energy. Purport. The three Purushas, Karanadakshayi Vishnu, Garbhodakshayi Vishnu, and Kshirodakshayi Vishnu, all have a relationship with the material energy called Maya, because through Maya, they create the material cosmos. These three Purushas who lie down on the Karna, Garbha, and Kshira oceans, respectively, are the super soul of everything that be. Karanadakshayi Vishnu is the super soul of the collective universes. Garbhodakshayi Vishnu is the super soul of the collective living beings. And Kshirodakshayi Vishnu is the super soul of the all individual living entities. Because all of them are somehow attracted to the affairs of the material energy, they can be said to have some affection for Maya. But the transcendental position of Sri Krishna himself is not even slightly tinged by Maya. His transcendental state is called Turiya, or the fourth dimensional stage. Yeah, so these different Purusha avatars, there's three Vishnus, because they're involved in the creation of the material world, then they interact with the material energy. So it's saying here that they have a relationship with Maya because they work with Maya, right? Not that they're in Maya, but they work with Maya to create the material, like a colleague at work, right? So you go to work and you work with some people who are not devotees. You don't become influenced by them, but you work with them. What to do? That's what you have. So yeah, so they have to deal with Maya, but they don't get influenced by Maya. But Krishna, he doesn't deal with Maya at all. He just doesn't go there. Okay, text 53. Virad Hiranyagarbha Hiranyagarbhascha Karanam Cheti Upadaya Ishasya Yat Virhinam Turiyam Tat Prachakshate.
In the material world, the Lord is designated as a Virat, Hiranyagarbha, and Karana. But beyond these three designations, the Lord is ultimately in the fourth dimension. Virat, the phenomenal manifestation of the Supreme Whole. Hiranya Garbha, the numinous and soul of everything. And the Karana, the cause or the casual nature, are all but designations of the Purushas, who are responsible for the material creation. The transcendental position surpasses three designations and is therefore called the position of the fourth dimension. This is the quotation from Sridhar Swami's commentary on the 11th canto, 15th chapter, verse 16 of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Okay. So yeah, Virat means the universal form, the Virat Rupa. And Hiranyagarbha means, what does he say? The numinous soul of everything. Yeah, so that's the, basically like the super soul. And then Karana means the cause. So These are different manifestations of Lord Vishnu, these three Purusha avatars in this world, but beyond them is the fourth dimension, and that is Krishna. Text 54. Yadyapi tineramaya laiya vyavahara tatapi tatsparshana hi sabe maya para.
Although these three feet in none of them, they are all bare in those.
Right, yeah, none of them are touched by Maya. Text 55. Etadi shanamishasya prakritistopi tadgunai na yujyate sadatmastar yata buddhis tadashraya.
Although they are lifted by the modes of nature. Similarly, those who have surrendered to him and fixed their intelligence upon him are not influenced by the modes of nature. Purport. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 1.11.38. Those who have taken shelter of the lotus feet of the personality of Godhead do not identify with the material world, even while living in it. Pure devotees may deal with the three modes of material nature, but because of their transcendental intelligence and Krishna consciousness, they are not influenced by the material qualities. The spell of material activities does not attract such devotees. Therefore, the Supreme Lord and his devotees acting under him are always free from material contamination.
So this is the position of these Purusha avatars, the three Vishnus in this world who are creating. It's the devotees, pure devotees, are also similar in that they're not the Lord, but similar in that they're interacting with Maya, right? They're living in the material world, they're working with the material energy, but they're not touched by it, right? They're like the lotus leaf that's in the middle of the water, in the middle of the lake, but is not touching the lake water at all. It's above it. So this is the art of living in the world here, is that we, by engaging all these material things in Krishna's service, then even though we're touching material things and we're living in a material body, but we're using everything in Krishna's service, so it all becomes spiritual and beyond the influence of the three modes of nature. So the Lord, when he comes to this world, remains transcendental, and the pure devotees also, when they come to this world, they remain transcendental. And if we are totally absorbed in the service of the Lord, following in their footsteps, then we can also be transcendental. Right? Okay. 56. Setina janera tumi parama ashraya tumi mula narayana ite ki samshaya. Oh, you are the ultimate shelter of these three plenary portions. Thus, there's not the slightest doubt that you are the primeval Narayan. Report. Brahma has confirmed that Lord Krishna is the supreme source of the three manifestations known as Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, and Karanodakshaya Vishnu Mahavishnu. For his pastimes, Lord Krishna has four original manifestations, namely Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Pradyumna, and Aniruddha. The first Purusha avatar, Mahavishnu, in the causal ocean, who is the creator of the aggregate material energy, is an expansion of Sankarshan. The second Purusha, Garbhodakshaya Vishnu, is an expansion of Pradyumna, and the third Purusha, Kshirodakshaya Vishnu, is an expansion of Aniruddha. All these are within the category of manifestations of Narayan, who is a manifestation of Sri Krishna. Somebody was asking about this in Bhagavati, right? The other day, these four, Sankarshan, Vasudeva, Sankarshan, Aniruddha, and Pradyumna. So those that they're called the Chaturvyuha, they are the original expansions from Lord Balaram. First Krishna, then Balaram, then from Balaram comes this Chaturvyuha, and then from each of the Chaturvyuha expounds some further incarnations. Text 57. Setina amshi paravyoma narayana tenha tomara vilasa tumi mula narayana.
The source of these three futures is the Narayana in the spiritual sky. He is our Vilasa expansion. Therefore, you are the ultimate Narayana.
Okay. Text 58. Ataiva Brahma Vakye Paravyoma Narayana Teno Krishnera Vilasae Tattva Vivarana.
Therefore, acting to the authority of Brahma, the speed of is but the Vilasa feature of Krishna. This has now been conclusively proved.
Remember we were talking about the Vilas feature and what was the other one? Prakash feature. What's the difference? Remember?
Yeah. So.
Tell us, Pragati.
Prakash Peter is the Krishna.
I think
Where he is like where? Yeah, like I don't know how to explain, but where he is directly him and Vilas is like Balaram and
Okay.
other.
So Prakash is when it looks, it's Krishna expands as Krishna. He doesn't have a different form, his same form, his multiple Krishna forms. And then that's Prakash, right? And Vilas is when he expands in as God, but in a different form, like Nrsingadev and Balaram. and
Outstanding
Lord
company.
Yeah. Okay, there we go. So the other one is Prakash. And yeah, so he's saying that Narayan is just one of your Vilas expansions. Okay. Text 59. Shloka tattva lakshana bhagavata sara paribhasha rupe ihara sarvatra dikara.
The truth in the text is the essence of Sri Bhagavatam. This conclusion through synonyms applies everywhere.
Yeah, because Srimad Bhagavatam, the Paribhasa Sutra, right? They're talking here, Paribhasa, is Ete Chamsa Kala Pumsam Krishnastu Bhagavan Swayam. That all of the different expansions and incarnations of the Lord are all just parts. They're all just, plenary expansions or portions of the plenary portions of the Lord, but that Krishna is the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. So he's referring to this, that this conclusion that we just came to here in Caitanya Caritamrita is the same thing that's stated in Srimad Bhagavatam, that all these different incarnations are just expansions of Krishna. Krishna is the fountainhead of all incarnations. Okay, text 60. Brahma Atma Bhagavan Krishnera Vihara Artha Najani Murka Artha Kareya. So
that Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan are the features of Krishna. Foolish scholars speculate in various ways.
yeah, so we're lucky that we get this knowledge. We know that all these expansions, all the different features, they're all just different features of Krishna. So we can worship Krishna and he is the source of all of them and all of them are satisfied and makes it a lot easier. And we're not bewildered about who is the supreme, right? Some people think Brahma is the supreme Lord and Krishna just is some temporary manifest personal form that manifests from Brahman, but that actually Brahman is the highest. So people get confused. Foolish scholars speculate and come to foolish conclusions. But when we get it from Shastra, then we know for fact what the truth is. Avatari Narayana Krishna Avatara Teha Chatur Bhuja Ingha Manushya Akara. Because Narayan has 4 hands, whereas Krishna looks just like a man, they say that Narayan is the original God, whereas Krishna is but an incarnation. Purport. Some scholars argue that because Narayan has 4 hands, whereas Sri Krishna has only 2, Narayan is the original personality of Godhead, and Krishna is his incarnation. Such unintelligent scholars do not understand the features of the Absolute. So that's actually a very common understanding, that the Supreme Lord is Narayan and Krishna is an expansion from Narayan. Even if you look up like Krishna in the encyclopedia or Wikipedia or the dictionary or something, they'll say he's an incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Krishna is an incarnation of Vishnu. So a lot of people think like that in India. A lot of people,
Especially in South India.
everyone believes that Vishnu is the supreme and Krishna is just an incarnation, like that.
South India.
But actually, the opposite is true. Krishna is the original Lord and Narayan is the expansion. So Prabhupada says, yeah, unintelligent scholars just think, and the reason they think like that is because Krishna just looks like an ordinary person. So they just take him like, yeah, he's just an ordinary person. Whereas Narayan has 4 hands, you know, that's amazing. No human being has 4 hands, so he must be God because he's special.
serious too.
Yeah, and he's serious.
So he might-
Yeah,
Like Vishnu form did not. They were-
right.
they-
Yeah. Yeah, so they don't understand the transcendental nature of Krishna's birth and appearance. That's why it says, Janma karma chame divyam evam yo veti tatvadaha tyaktva deham punar janma naitimamiti sorjuna. That one who knows the transcendental nature of Krishna's appearance and disappearance, appearance and activities in this world, does not take birth again in the material world, but attains his eternal abode. So you can literally go back to Godhead just by understanding that Krishna, yes, he born, yes, he has a mother and father, yes, he comes as a baby, and yes, he appears to grow up, but this is all just transcendental. He's not an ordinary person. But that Krishna is even though people think that Vishnu is God because he's very serious and very grave, and they can't take Krishna to be God because he's too, you know, fun-loving and playful. But yeah, the absolute truth is, I mean, God is a supreme enjoyer. So the Vishnus, they have all kinds of work to do, you know, they have to create the universes and all this stuff, but Krishna doesn't get involved with that. He's just playing.
Yeah.
You know, and Vishnu has to maintain when the demigods are in trouble, they go to Vishnu, and Vishnu's like, okay, I'm gonna deal with it. But Krishna's just playing,
Owner doesn't.
right? Yeah, he has like a CEO who's working for him, and he just like hires the CEO, fires the CEO, tells the CEO, you know, whatever. Any problems, you solve it. Don't come to me, I'm on vacation. So Krishna's always on vacation. And the other thing is in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, when the different qualities of the Lord are manifest, are described. So there are 64 qualities of the Lord, and the first 50 of those qualities, even jivas can have. And then there are like, let's see, that's 50. There are 5 additional qualities that that Lord Shiva also can have. And then there are 5 additional qualities that the Vishnus have. And then there are 4 qualities that only Krishna has, and none of the Vishnus have those qualities. And do you know what those 4 qualities are?
His activities,
Huh?
his activities. The
Gopis?
playful, yeah.
So the 4 qualities are that they all have to do with his sweetness. They're all like Madhurya, right? So there's, yeah, Leela Madhurya means his very sweet activities. Vishnu doesn't have sweet activities. Krishna has sweet activities, how he
Right.
plays, how he dances, how he loves his mother and all that. Damodar Leela is so sweet.
Playing flute.
And then there's Venu Madhurya, which is his flute playing attracts the minds of everyone in the material and spiritual worlds. And then
And his beauty.
Motherly.
his beauty, yeah, Rupa Madhurya, that his form is so sweet.
Yeah.
Like Vishnu is beautiful and Vishnu is handsome and all that, but he doesn't have the sweetness that
doesn't.
Krishna. Krishna is so sweet, you know, he's just heart melting. When you see Vishnu, you're like, oh wow, he's beautiful. But when you see Krishna, your heart just melts.
Yes.
And then what's the last one? That he's his associates, that he's always surrounded.
His devotee.
Prema Madhurya. Yeah,
His
he's always surrounded by devotees who are imbued with ecstatic love for him. So yeah, the way that the love that the Brajavasis have for Krishna is totally next level compared to, you know, the awe and reverence and devotion that the Vaikuntha-vasis have for Lord
Yeah,
Vishnu.
and compared to any other devotee.
There's nothing compares to the love of the gopis and Srimati Radharani, Mother Yashoda, cowherd boys. Venu.
He plays the flute. His activities, his playful activities,
Yeah.
plays flute. He sings. His devotees. And
Devotees.
he is the most beautiful.
His beauty, his
Beautiful.
form.
Yeah.
That's called Rupa Madhurya. Leela, Venu, Rupa, and I think it's either Prema or Bhakta. Anyways, it's about his devotees and how they love him.
Prema.
Okay. So Krishna is the best. That's it. Text 62. E matte nana rupa kare purva paksha tahare nirjite bhagavata padyadaksha.
In this way, their arguments appear in various forms, but the poetry of the Bhagavatam expertly refutes them all.
Jai. So we'll read one more verse. Vadanti tat tattvavidas tattvam yajnanam advayam brahmeti paramatmeti bhagavan iti shabdyate.
State that it is not dual knowledge and it is called impersonal Brahman, the localized Paramatma and the personality of content. Purpose. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam.
1 to 11. He's just giving the reference number. You can go look it up.
Okay.
But I have to go.
It's a long.
Okay. Thank you very much. We're going to stop here. Let's just see if anybody's out there saying anything interesting. Oh, Lavanga's there. She says she's moving around, so she's listening on YouTube. Okay, I was wondering where you were, Lavanga. Thank you for joining. Looks like you're the only person out there. Okay. Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Premanandi.